So, Kal Kadosh, we're just going to continue with the halachot of Lashon Hara and Hilchot, and then we'll continue. Again, this is Lili Nishmat, as the Quran Niftel Betoloma. Also, Sadiq Kohen Barkota, Chanam Tzili Tzil Bat Levi Afrecha, Rivka Bafrecha, Tzil Malnom Bat Esther, Kassis Ben Kota. So it says over here as follows. Of today's Lashon Hara, it says, "V'dan, you should know the Isur Rechilut to afilu al Haaretz," which means Rechilut even applies to an Am Haaretz. So you're not allowed to come and say or tattletale even about an Am Haaretz to someone else. It says why? At the end of the day, it's also called Lo telech rachil be'amecha. The Am Haaretz is still considered Amecha, your nation, which means you cannot come and speak negatively about him. But remember, Lashon Hara is speaking negatively. The chilut means I'm going to go to someone else and say, this person spoke negatively about you. That's called the chilut. So I cannot come if an Am Haaretz came and he spoke negatively about so-and-so. I cannot go to that person and say, listen, this Am Haaretz spoke about you. Why? There's also the chilut, the prohibition of chilut by an Am Haaretz. So he says, Shamaretz ze krina le'echad shelo b'fanav chinam. We already explained. The Isur Rechilut is even if it's true. So even if it's true, it's Lasur. And especially to say Rechilut about Tamid Chacham, it's going to be even worse. Which means if you go to someone and you say, by the way, you know what the rabbi said about you? He said A, B, C, and D. Even if it's true, it's even worse. He says, why? He explains the Chafetz Chaim 3 different reasons. Number one, he says from the fact of the rechilut in itself. He says why? If you're going to come and snitch on your friend, you're going to say, listen, this guy went and he said something derogatory about you. Now, if there was any type of a mixture, any type of falsehood, which was mixed into the story, for sure it's even worse, right? That if it would have been 100% truth, so according to the majority of the times, it's going to be the chilut of sheker. Why? Because a Tamid Chacham Mistama is not going to disgrace a person for no reason. There had to be something that he said or something that happened. He was doing something for a reason, and therefore, he probably did it for a valid reason. And therefore, if you're going to go and you're going to say something, for sure it's the chilut of sheker. It's going to be a falsehood. Number two, because of the actual sin of going against the Tamid Chacham. The Torah commanded us to cling to the Tamid Chachamim with everything that we can. Whether it's to drink with them, to eat with them, to do business with Tamid Chachamim, to marry his daughter to Tamid Chacham, to do a lot of respect with them, and all the more so, not to come and to start provoking other negative things on him. Because obviously if you're doing that, it's going to cause the exact opposite. Third reason, because of the outcome of the story. He says why? If somebody's going to come and he's going to tell you, listen, you have this Am Haaretz that he came and he said something about you, okay, fine, what do you expect? I wouldn't have expected better. So he says, oh, he didn't whichever iniquity against you, same thing. Somebody's going to come and he's going to say, a rabbi went and he said something against you. For sure you're going to have even more hatred in your heart against him. And it's going to cause fights because of this. And especially if he's going to say it on Rav Iyar of the city, it's going to cause many detrimental things going to happen. And many times it can actually go, he's continuing mamash until his life that he's going against because of all these negativities. So 3 reasons why the Chafetz Chaim comes and he says that first of all, it's going to be asur even to say something, to tattletale on a ma'aretz what he said about you. And number 2, on a Tamid Chacham, there's going to be 3 reasons why it's even going to be worse. To do a Shmirat Lashon, we mentioned yesterday that on any type of a mitzvah that people are not running to do the mitzvah, we have to run to do it. So continues the Chafetz Chaim and he says, we're going to say the same thing today. Because what's happening nowadays, בעוונותינו הרבים, right? Because of our sins, שהופקד אצל איזה אנשים לגמרי העוון לשון הרע וחילוט. What's going to happen is that you're going to have that speak. אם אחד יתחזק תמיד בעניין שמירת הלשון. If we're going to come and strengthen ourselves with this mitzvah of שמירת הלשון, שלא לעבור ללשון הרע וחילוט, that we're not going to transgress לעבירה לשון הרע וחילוט, כמה מהשכר יגיע לו לזה. Look how much reward we're going to get. לא ידוע מה שכתוב בספר חרדים, because it's known that which is written in ספר חרדים, that a mitzvah she'en la dorshin, a mitzvah that a lot of people do not fulfill it, ki kemet mitzvah. It's like considered a met mitzvah. And mitzvah she'en la rodfin, redof acharei lasuta, run to do that mitzvah. Mitzvah mekatreget, because the mitzvah is actually accusing us and saying, kama grua anochi, why am I so bad? Shenitalamti v'kol. And nobody wants to do my mitzvah. You know, shelmet mitzvah, it's already known the greatness of the mitzvah man damru, that filu kohen gadol v'nazir v'olech l'shchop yischol lamul beno. Even a kohen gadol and a nazir that they're going to do their korban pesach, and they're going to do bring milah for the children. She'eno mitameh lekrovim. They don't even do. They cannot become and purify themselves, even for family members if they pass away. However, though mitameh mitzvah, he doesn't purify himself for a mitzvah. So there's no disgrace. So let's see ourselves. Look what it is, the met mitzvah. The met mitzvah, he's already passed away. He's nothing there anymore. The neshama already left. So what's there? Right? It doesn't have the ruach or neshama, nefesh ruach or neshama. Ve'afal pichen, and still, mipnei shaya chomer hazeh makom mishkan lenefesh ha'yisraeli, because it once upon a time it resided a neshama, teorah, which was inside of it, of a Jew. Hikpida Torah kol kach, you know, look how much the Torah was strict on the disgrace of it. Ve'itira afilu kohen gadol v'nazir, and therefore they permitted even the shchitat ha'pesach milah beno. And even if he's not going to be able to do the korban pesach, or he's not going to be able to do bring milah to his son, leitameh lo v'lasot tzachah, in order to become tameh to the met mitzvah and to do so, kal v'chomer binyan Torah kedosha. Kal v'chomer then to do with the Torah kedosha, which is more precious than any type of pearls and jewels. And this is the rejoicing of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If one of the mitzvot chas v'shalom mutele bebizayon is being disgraced, how much are we obligated to strengthen ourselves in the mitzvah, which is again en la dorshim, because we're all speaking Lashon hara, rechiliut, mitzvot shimra, shelo tekatreg aleinu lemala, that it should not actually come and speak against us from above. רבי חניה בן הקשיא אומר, יצא הקדוש ברוך הוא לזה הקדוש שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר.